a good solid 3 or 4 hours a day, even 4 days a week, you can have a solid business. I think people have this idea that you have to work 50, 60 hours a week. And that may be true if you're working for somebody else, but I don't. I never did.
Well, I think, it's again, what you want your business to be. If you want to set up a business so it's something that you work at 4 hours a day, that's exactly how you're going to set it up. It may take, as you say, some extra time in the beginning, maybe the first 6 months, getting it started and set up and processes in place and things like that. But in reality, you control your destiny. And if you want your business to be a certain time frame and a certain amount of dollars coming in, you structure it that way. And of course, right. If you still want more money and you don't want to work any more hours, you raise your prices and you find out who's going to accept that and who isn't. So I think that that's very true. It's a way of structuring. And interestingly, I would love to get your feedback on this. When I first decided that this was going to be my new group, these women who are 50 and over, I found that when I started talking to them about what I thought they wanted to do, one of which was going into business for themselves, I found a lot of people very scared. They wanted to do it, but they were scared. They were frightened. And I'm wondering if you found that as well and how you dealt with that.
I think some of the fear comes around who you surround yourself with. And if you have people saying, you're going to do what? I mean, for me to slide from a therapy practice to a coaching business was just changing businesses, but still working for myself. I have people that'll say their kids or their friends or their family are like, are you nuts working for yourself? That's the craziest thing I ever heard of. Why would you want to do something like that? Because you know as well as I do that to be an entrepreneur, we're kind of a different breed. My sister always used to say to me, why don't you just be a school social worker? And I'm like, oh, I mean, nothing against school social work, but I don't want to do that. And she still, to this day, doesn't understand why I do what I do. And, I mean, she's on my list, of course, and she'll get my e-zine, and she'll email me and say, oh, I like your new website. I mean, she just doesn't get it. And there's a lot of people out there that just don't get it. And so I think it's really important to surround yourself with people who are going to support you in what you want to do and will have your back and will keep you going. We all get to a point, I'm sure you have, I know I have, when it's like, this is too hard, forget this, I'm just going to quit. And you don't. You can't.
I think you sleep on it and then you wake up with a whole different frame of mind. But you're absolutely right in terms of, for example, what your sister said, because there are people I know who would kill to have a school social work job because they would have set hours, they would have summers off, they would have benefits paid for, and they would know where they stand. And there are people, thank goodness, because we need those school psychologists, there are people who think that is a dream career. And then they do retire and they have their pension or their 401k or whatever it is they have. And, it's very interesting because thank goodness we have all these different kinds of people in the world or we would never progress and do anything. But I do think it's important to have people understand that it doesn't matter what age you are. I remember here in Miami years and years and years ago, there was a gentleman called Arthur Vining Davis who practically owned the entire city. And at 92, when most people are hardly moving, he was still buying up property and developing. And he didn't live too much longer than that, and he was in the middle of developing when he died, and he just never stopped. And I think that's what kept him going even at 92. So, sure. I do think that it's important. So if you were to advise somebody about starting their own business, what would you say that it takes, other than the fact of giving yourself, 6 months to 12 months, not quitting your day job. Is there anything else you would suggest that people do?
I think it's important to really know why you're doing it. It's often referred to as your big why. Why do you really want to do this business? Because if you don't know why, when things get rough and scary, and they will, then you are going to quit. But, I always come back to, look at all the women that you've helped, Kim. Look at all the women that you've helped them start their business. They're back on their feet, or they're on their feet, or they're earning enough money that they can travel wherever they want, whenever they want. I think you really just need to be able to know why you're doing this.
I think that's so true, and it's interesting to me that, I think people, and this is one thing I don't think entrepreneurs think about, and that is there is going to be something that comes up. I mean, whether it's something like Ebola. I had my doctor, I'm going to a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and this is in Coral Gables at a hospital, and it's for my knees. And the doctor called this morning, his staff called, and to reconfirm the appointment and wanted to know if I had been around anybody who had traveled out of the state of Florida in the past month. And I called back and I reconfirmed my appointment, and I said, well, yeah, I'm coming, but why did you need to know that? And I kind of knew the answer, and they said, well, Ebola. I said, yeah, but we don't have it here, but there's Ebola in Texas and there's Ebola in New York. I said, well, I'm on the road all the time. And I said, I have been in San Diego. And they said, oh, San Diego is fine. So it could be something like that. It could be a terrorist attack. It could be gas prices. It could be, the volcano erupting in Hawaii. It could be anything at all. I mean, there are definitely things, and you need to be prepared. You need to have some kind of crisis plan for yourself, because something's going to happen that you can't even anticipate, and it's really going to depend on how flexible you are and how you can bounce back. So I think you always have to be prepared. I think you always have to have some money in the kitty to carry on no matter what. And I think that's all a part of it. Now, let me ask you, Kim, how can people reach you, number one? And I know you would like to help some of the people who are listening. So tell us a little bit about, how we can get in touch with you and what you could do for someone.
Sure. My phone number is 720-922-1201. My website is www.positiveaginginc.com. And what I would like to offer your listeners is, if they email me or call me, I'll set up a time with them to do a 30-minute business building discovery session where we can talk about, what it is you're thinking that you'd like to do. What have you done so far? What do you see as your next steps? And is there a way that I might be able to be helpful in that?
Fantastic. Well, it's interesting because I think that people need to understand that they have to look at what's going on in their lives, and they have to be able to say, let me just discover, let me investigate, let me look at what's happening. And I guess what I would ask you, because I know that your life has changed a little bit since your husband passed away, and I know that it's very recent. In fact, almost to the day 6 years ago that my husband passed away. I mean, absolutely, practically within 3 days of each other.
Monday, November 3rd, it'll be 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. So how has your life changed, and what do you see for Kim in the future?
Well, for one thing, this is my house. I've been in my house for 28 years. So he moved in here. And I've had it repainted on the outside, on the inside. I had to get all new family room furniture because of a variety of reasons. And for me, in a lot of ways, I've just been cleaning like crazy and purging, and I'm getting my house back. And that part is nice for me. I have lots of fun things coming up. You know, holidays are going to be a little strange. But I'm actually I'm actually signed up for a program, and I'm going to write a book, Gail.
Fantastic.
I know you and I have had this conversation, but you know, when you're on your own, there is more time.
Absolutely.
I have more free time than I've ever had, and I'm not one to sit around like you. And so there's things I want to do, and that's one of them.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I'll tell you. I want to give your contact information again. If you want to reach Kim, you can do so at kim@positiveaginginc.com. And that's her website, positiveaginginc.com. And I want to thank everybody for listening today to Kim and to Women in Business. It's a show that brings you women entrepreneurs and senior managers. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can connect with me on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to download my ebook, Life Lessons from an SOB, on my website, spunkyoldbroad.com, where you can find information on my speeches, coaching, and resources. And you can email me at Gayle, that's Gayle, Carson13 @gmail.com. So I want to thank you, Kim. I hope your voice gets better and stronger. And people need to know that even if you're not in Colorado, Kim can coach you from anywhere. And we look forward to hearing you on the next show. And thanks for listening today.
Thank you very much for having me, Gail. It's good to hear your voice.
Thanks.